All right. All right. We're live. We're live. What's up, everyone? Hope it's a great day. I just want to thank you for being here. So excited because I got a good friend of mine, the Flip King himself, Joe Evangelisti. What's up, Joe?
What's up, Matt? Thanks for having me on, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. As we have a few more people hopping on here, just kind of let people get going. But for those of you that don't know, Joe is a buddy of mine. We've known each other about 4 years now, right?
Yeah, I think so. Mm-hmm.
So he's when he first met me, I was kind of a wide-eyed kid with a bunch of ambition, and I think the story was I went to your office for the very first time when I got kind of I don't know if you want to call it indoctrinated to the DM fam, and so I go out to New Jersey, and there's a room of probably, I don't know, 10 or 15 guys, and thinking back, there was a lot of high level guys in that room. I mean, there was yourself, there was DM, there was Tim Bratz was in there, I think Rafael Vargas was in there, Adam Maggio was in there. Bunch of guys that are just crushing it, right? And being in that room was just from me coming from California, kind of a Fresno mentality. I got in that room like, wow, like this is pretty crazy, because A, I'm learning stuff that I didn't even know. B, we're sharing all the stuff that we both encounter, good and bad in our business, and no one was trying to hog that information, right? Like everyone was there helping, and hey, I've tried this, or do this, or this is working for us. And it gave me the biggest thing, Joe, right? It kind of gives you permission to do what you think you want to do, but then you have the support and kind of feedback from other people, and they're like, yeah, man, go for it, right?
Yeah, man, I can't say enough good things about those type of rooms. When you're in the right environment and surrounded by the right people, it's a game changer, right? I mean, you know this, but I literally just did a post about this 10 minutes ago, and we didn't even talk about this ahead of time, because we're very connected. We're very much on the same playing field and in line mentally and focused on what we want to achieve. And when you pay, to be in the room, you pay for the advantages of people in the room. I always say when we do these events, like you're not paying for who's there, you're paying for who's not there, right? Because the people with the low level thinkers, the me mentality, the people who are all about themselves, not willing to share, not willing to grow, they're also generally not investing in themselves either, right? So you have to sort through and really curate the room with the right players in order to get the right results. So we're very, very fanatical about making sure that the room has the right people. We've been doing it for years, and it's proven itself time and time again, just from the big players that are in these events. I mean, Alex Sainez, who's blown up in the wholesale business, basically had only wholesaled like 3 deals when he was at our first event. Rafael was getting into it at that point. A lot of the big players in all types of industry. Bratz has gone on to do 4,000 units in like 3.5 years. And we're not by any means taking credit for that. It's just a matter of, like you said, when you're in that room, you can speak freely. The guys there, they're all about trying to add value back to the room. And what that means is actually personally care about your success and how you're going to get to the next level. So, when guys bring up ideas that are freaking stupid, they get stomped on, like, but it's a free space, you know what I mean? And when they're good ideas, boom, we're going to help you grow that thing to the next level. So it's a very cool environment, because it's rare, I think, for at least for me, for example, man. I'm in New Jersey. I'm not saying there's not rock stars in New Jersey, but the fact is, when you're in a room where people are coming from 20 different states or 10 different states to be there, you're getting a perspective of high level performers from all over the country. And it's a game changer. I mean, I picked up ideas at every single one of those events that have made me 10, 20, 100, 200, $500,000, just from sitting across and saying, damn, and it's not an emulation thing, right? I think that's the interesting piece. It's not like you sit there and you say, well, that guy's doing that thing, I'm going to go do that thing. It's just a layer. It's like peeling back the onion. You're building new layers just by the little tweaks that you learn from these events. And, I can't say enough crazy stuff about them, man. I mean, that's really, in my opinion, the biggest game changer for me over the last 7 years was just surrounding myself with higher level thinkers. And what's exciting, dude, is that they just keep getting higher. You know what I mean? And as long as you got that mentality that you want to chase success and you want to be the best person you can be, I don't know any better place to be than in rooms like that.
100%. You said it yourself. It's, you learn to borrow that confidence, that belief, because it's not that like, oh, you think you're better than someone. You're in that environment, and you guys are talking. We're talking on a real level. We're sharing, what is challenging. We share our, we kind of get vulnerable a little bit. Like, hey, I'm struggling with this. Like, what have you guys done in the past to overcome this? Or, hey, this isn't working. What, in your experience, how have you overcome this? So, I mean, gosh, it's so big. And, all of us guys that have experienced it can just speak from, genuine experience and just have a lot of great things to say about it. Cause I think every one of us just gives it so much value and credit to where it's brought us to today.
Yeah, dude, I think it's like almost like the opposite of the 80-20 rule. Like, I feel like when you look back over the years, but we've been doing events now for maybe 4 or 5 years. I think you were one of our first ones, actually. And like I think it's probably 80% of the people who've stepped foot in that room are easily worth 10 million plus. Like 80% of the people. And then I'm not even exaggerating. Like there's always going to be that 20% fall off. They just don't get it. It goes over their head. This is too good to be true. I don't think it's possible. I'm not going to take a risk. I'm very, all that stuff. There's always going to be those people, and they get by and they do okay. But like, legit 80% of the people that I can think of have created massive success, huge businesses, lots of people relying on them, big responsibility, but it's exciting. And that's what fires me up, is like new opportunity and seeing people succeed. There's nothing like it.
And on top of that, being able to evolve and grow and stay in touch with each other has been amazing too. And that's kind of one of the things that, a lot of the viewers here are real estate investors. Guys, if you're watching, please put in the comments where you're watching from. Are you in California? Are you in New Jersey? Are you in a different state? I bring guys like Joe on because they're a wealth of knowledge, because they've had so much experience. Joe, give the viewers, a quick, few minute kind of bio, like who's Joe Evangelisti? Where'd you start?
Yeah. So I'll give you my quick background. I just say this, and I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but like, if you guys are live and you want to talk business, you want to talk real estate, you want to talk team building, like, I'd love to hop on here live and just go through questions and Q&A. And, so whatever your high level challenge is that's bothering you right now, that you're having a hard time overcoming, whether it's the physicality of the location based stuff with COVID, or maybe you have a team structure, or and I want to get into this, but there's a freaking ton of talent sitting on the bench right now, right? So like, maybe you're that talent. Maybe you're thinking about making a move. Maybe, this is that piece that finally resonated with you, where you're like, dude, I want to go after it, right? There's so much amazing talent out there right now. And if you're watching and you're having a challenge, we want to help you succeed. We want to help you thrive during this downturn. Which isn't really much of a downturn now that I look. I don't even follow stocks, but I jumped on this morning. We're like 26,000 for Dow again. Like, isn't that back to where it was? That's off topic, but anyway, a little bit background about me. I've been in construction since I was 8 years old. I was able to swing a hammer and push a broom and clean a job site. My dad was a contractor my whole life, so been around construction, been around real estate, been around development, seen all that happen since I was in diapers. And, right after high school, I did 6 years in the military as a U.S. Navy Seabee, which is construction battalions of the Navy, right? So I was a builder in the Navy, basically traveled around the world by plane, never saw a boat, built all kinds of cool shit, which that's a whole interview in itself. But then when I got out quickly after that, I got into real estate, fix and flip, buy and hold, wholesaling, trying to learn as I grow, right? And we built that thing up to the point where we were flipping like 80 plus houses a year. And I really, there was two kind of awakenings for me. One was the first awakening, which was as a new business owner, I think a lot of people do this. They try to be everything to everyone, right? So when I first got into real estate, it's like I had a broker's license. I was building houses, flipping stuff on the side, trying to keep everything, juggling all these balls in the air. And I basically almost had a meltdown, like 8 or 9 years ago when my kids were first born, because I was trying to be everything to everyone. I was making on paper a ton of money, but I never had fucking money. Like, I was just working my ass off to try to succeed at 5 different levels. And the first awakening was the leverage of people, learning to invest in people, hire great talent. And that's really where the first, thing that took us from flipping 4 or 5 houses a year to building a massive team and flipping 80 houses a year. And then my second awakening was when we hit that big year, that 80 year, and was like, oh my God, Now the money is 100 times bigger. I still feel like I never have it. On paper, I'm making 10 times more than I was 3 years ago. And I still don't feel like I have it. So then I started to realize, how do I simplify process, right? How do I keep my payroll lean, my overhead lean, and my company way more profitable? And that's when I started digging deeper into margins and projections and, really educating myself about business. And that's where stuff really started to blow up, right? We started to get efficient and lean with our teams. I've built bigger companies since then. I've gone into the media space. I have a publishing company. We have obviously the wholesale company, which we can talk about today. We're doing a lot less fix and flips. We're moving into commercial development stuff. So we're doing some self-storage development facilities. And of course we have the mastermind, the coaching stuff going on. So, I'm now running, 5 companies instead of 7 or 8, and they're all effective. They're all efficient. But it took years of trial and error, man, making mistakes and learning how to grow. I'm still learning every single day. Right.
Sure.
But that's where we're at today. I'm here in my office. A lot of people are working from home, which is totally cool, but I'm super excited about the opportunities that are in front of us because of all the effects that we put into place, all the building blocks that we put in the last couple of years to turn super, super effective businesses on.
I love these stories because it's so cool to see where people start, coming from the Navy to, first thinking, well, my path to success is going to be a real estate broker, right? Is that probably your initial, I want to get into real estate. So the first, thought is, okay, let's go get a real estate license. And then you quickly figure out, maybe not sometimes quickly, but that might not be the path that's going to get you to where you want to go. And so then we start changing and thinking about how to, I like to call it like, work in an environment that, you could dig your field and you're going to see results, and we can plow and work and dig, but if we're in the wrong field, quote unquote, we may never get to that number that we need to have financial freedom or make enough so that we can parlay that into the other opportunities. And it's like we all go through this evolution. And I remember you sharing stories too about, how you were first told to like, hey, hire someone, and your mind went, I can't afford that, right? Mm-hmm. And now you're running multiple companies. Like, I just love that. Everyone starts with that same broken mentality. Well, I can't afford that, or that's going to cost me money. And that's like the first thing that we have to stop and break that thought process is everything costs money instead of what's the investment, what's the return, right?
100%. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And to add to that, just to tie into that, what's up, DM? DM taught us this mentality years ago, which I think was originally a Dan Sullivan idea, which is an ELF business, right? Easy, lucrative, and fun. And if I know then what I know now, I would have built completely different businesses, right? When I start out, as most guys do, we're just trying to make money. And then the next level is, hey, by the way, we can create businesses that we're selfish about, right? Like, how do I create a business that's easy, that makes real money, that I enjoy doing, that I can create great systems within? But that comes from being able to have the guts to go out and find great talent. We just hired a guy for my media company. He's gonna make $200K a year in his first year, guaranteed. Like, I mean, this guy's gonna crush it. But he's an amazing talent, right? And right now, when I say talent's on the bench, like, these are guys that are out there, guys and girls that are out there that are just incredible people. And during COVID, maybe they got furloughed, maybe they got laid off, maybe they, their hours were cut, maybe they were just looking for something different, right? And now they're all out there, they're waiting. I mean, we have 25 million people unemployed, and it might be more than that now, but not only is that a realistic number, but my feeling is that way more than half of those people, maybe more, are really, they want to be employed, or they want to go find like A players and people that are hustlers and grind. They don't want to sit at home being unemployed. They don't want to sit at home collecting a furlough or a paycheck that where they're not operational. They want to go out and hunt and gather and kill their meat, right? And so, getting those guys off the bench right now, I think is a massive, massive opportunity for business owners that are smart and they're willing to double down when times get tough.
I love it. Yeah, this ELF concept, something that we've been always talking about and trying to think, right? It's and Mark, he'll ask us this question. I'll post it for everybody because it all starts here. And I'll be honest, it's taken me a really long time to answer this, and I'll show you. And it might seem simple, but here it is. What do you want?
Yep. Now, and what do you really want? And like, not just like it's not a hypothetical question, folks, right? Like I journal a lot. And one of the things that's helped me grow internally and learn about myself and ways to move quicker and multiply effects and all that kind of stuff is really determining what it is do you want. And one of my favorite exercises, I just did this on Labor Day, as a matter of fact, is Memorial Day. I sat down on Memorial Day and I wrote down a column of what I have now and what I want to have in 1 year, right? Where am I going? What are my goals? What business is going to take me there? How much money does each one have to make in order for me to achieve that goal? How much money does each company have to make so I can reinvest in growing it at a higher level? And like actually laying down, where am I standing today? And dude, the fucking next 12 months, you're like me, man. I know I jump out of bed in the morning because I'm chasing exactly what's on that paper. I know it's possible. I know that the more amazing people that we put on our bench, on our squad, the quicker we're going to achieve it. So I'm in talent recruitment mode right now in every single business, man. We're hiring in every single business, trying to find the most amazing people we talk about who does the how, right? We're trying to find all the who's to do the how. And mentally, I think that's the big shift for a lot of business owners, that they should shift maybe I'd say as soon as they make money, but maybe before they even really make money. You have to, go out there and take that risk and challenge yourself to dig deep and find people that want to hop on that bus with you and want to ride this thing to the direction that you're taking it. And that's a big visionary thing, right? Is being able to paint that picture and have people understand. I mean, guys, why do you think Elon Musk is so successful? The guy is a visionary. When people listen to him, he's like, I'm going to put people on Mars, right? And then he's got the top engineers on the planet that are taking pay cuts to come work for him because they believe in the mission. They believe in the vision. They believe they want to be the people who, developed the widget that made the thing go an extra 1,000 miles an hour so it could hit space and time or whatever, right? Like they want to be on the forefront of that. And when you're a great visionary, you can create a great picture of where you want to go. Now, all of a sudden, the bigger your vision, the better the talent, it seems like. The bigger I push, the better the people that show up in my life. The bigger I rise, the bigger that my tribe rises around me, right? So now it starts to become a snowball effect. How can I push this thing to the next level? Because it's exciting for people, right? It's exciting for me. So, I think now is the time we have time to reflect. Everyone's always like, I'm trying to make time. I mean, guys, in the last 90 days, how much time do you need? You're forced to stay home. You're forced to hang around your kids. You're forced to be on Zoom calls all day long. Like, how do you maximize that, leverage that opportunity in this time that we have down?
Oh, I love it. And touching more onto this, like one thing that I have learned that's kind of forcing me, Joe, to expand my mindset and to expand opportunity is our vision needs to be so big, right? That it has it big enough for everybody to fit inside of it. And I think that's the challenge sometimes in growing a company or a business is it's not big enough to be able to excite enough people to want to come on board with you. And so, one of the biggest things that I've personally been working on is, I've put my identity sometimes into Matt is a real estate investor, right? I've had some success in that. So I want to hold on to that and I want to fight through it and I want to do as much as I can to make sure that I sustain or even increase that success level. But look, the bottom line is, we can be successful in anything that we choose to put our energy, our focus, and our time into. And it's not just you're pigeonholed into real estate or stocks or insurance or car salesman. Whatever you've had success in doesn't mean that defines you, right? And so if we could take what we're learning skill set wise, finding great people, hiring, managing, attracting talent, creating that vision, communicating it effectively, then we could literally go and create multiple companies and execute just like we executed on the first one that we grew to 7 figures and beyond.
Yeah, to touch on that, I think real quick is I think most business owners have a hard time differentiating themselves from their business, right? So now when I open businesses or I invest in new businesses or I invest in new people or new processes or whatever, I'm thinking, what can the business do for me, right? How can I step aside from that thing and let it continue to print money, right? And what can I do to help it print more, right? And I think where a lot of people go wrong is they feel like, look, one of my favorite books ever was The 4 Hour Workweek, right? I had no intention ever of working 4 hours a week, right?
Yeah.
But what I built is I've built 5 different businesses that I could work in 4 hours each, right? And I'm still getting everything done in 20, 30 hours a week if I need to. So it's the leverage and the opportunity to figure out, how do I outsource? How do I upgrade? How do I, give people responsibility, keep them accountable, keep them excited, keep them engaged? This is all next level visionary stuff. You have to know this stuff in order to make your teams work for you. And if you're in that hole where, you're your own electrical company, that doesn't mean you're an electrician. It means that's one of your companies. How can you, maybe you bake cakes on the side. Maybe you're a coach, whatever, right? Like, how do you, multiply the effectiveness of your time so that you can do many things at once? And that's the next level thinking, I think, for a lot of visionaries, especially ones that are out there making money. Like if you own an electrical company and let's say you're taking home $250 a year, it's fucking amazing. I mean, and for some people, by the way, they're cool with that. That's a lot of money and that's great income, and it is, and you can live a really, really comfortable life. And that's the threshold. I'm not saying that that's not awesome if people are doing that, but like, who's to say that you can't take 50 grand out of your income this year and go buy into an HVAC company? And now you have 2 companies that run same line, same processes. They can bid together. You can do group discount packages because you're smart enough to run a company. You already know what it's like to have good people under you to put the product in place. Why not expand? Why not do an ancillary thing that's gonna double or triple your income? And now it creates more vision, more expanse, more experience, and more people that are going to come along with you. See, that to me, that's building legacy. Jay-Z said this in a song years ago, but it was something like, forget about your millions. When you start making people millions, that's when you're successful, right? I look at how much my guys make versus my success. I'm more excited when they make 20 grand a month than if I take a draw, right? Like that's what launches me.
Dude, that lagging indicator, right? That means your company is about to explode. When you're sometimes your people need to make more money than the owner for a period of time.
100%.
Excited about that because that means there's some things happening, that are going to really flourish as you start growing and scaling. I want to talk a little bit about, because this might be the disconnect. I know it was for me for a long time, and these are repeated conversations, repeated journaling, right? Everybody I know, like we've got a journal right next to us and we're filling. I got 2 or 3 of these a year all day, right? Because the way our brains work, we got these ideas, we've got questions, we have things we need to do. So if you're not writing stuff down, I mean, I don't know how you alleviate brain space so that you can add more stuff, because if you just let it sit there and collect, like that could be a detriment to your growth. So here's the question, guys.
Yeah.
Where's your disconnect right now? And I want to interact with you guys that are others. About 20 people watching live right now. Please, like, the only way you're going to get value out of this is if you participate and you have an end goal. Like, what can you get out of this call? We're talking about some serious high level thought processes, tactics, ideas. I brought on a guy that's running multiple 7-figure, 8-figure companies who, 10 years ago was, started as a real estate agent, right? So think about that evolution and that growth. Where are you at right now? A. B, how are you looking at your business? Are you thinking about how you are going to do everything, or are you shifting it and starting to think about how to leverage that talent, that outsourcing, hiring, who it is to do the how, right? I'd like to hear from you guys. If anyone can make a comment or request to join live. I want to keep this interactive for you guys, because Joe and I, we talk almost every day. We talk about this stuff together. I mean, we could do that privately, but we're bringing you guys on live to help you. So if you're not, wanting to come on and ask questions, we can't help you. So I encourage you guys to do that.
I would also encourage, Matt, if these guys want to comment the next person that would help leverage you in a crazy way, right? Maybe it's an executive assistant, maybe it's adding another electrician to your team, maybe it's a salesperson, maybe it's a processor, maybe it's a cold caller, right? But just mentally thinking, who's going to do the how? If you could take some of that stuff that's on your plate right now and you could outsource it. Now, again, forget about the money for a minute. Forget the cost, right? Because people are an investment. And great people, when put in place, should multiply that effect for you. And I'll give you a quick example. When I was in real estate, selling real estate as a broker, First of all, that's a limited job, right? Because I can only do so much. I can only work with so many clients. So there was a ceiling on my income. I can't leverage my time without people, right? And so when I brought on my first assistant, she cost me $45,000 a year. This is going back 6-7 years. And when I brought her on, I was scared to death. I thought to myself, shit, where am I gonna come up with, $4,000 a month to be able to pay this person? That's a lot of cash, right? But I put her in place, and within 30 days, we had doubled our sales volume. Because what happens now is I'm open to dealing directly with my clients. I don't have to do the contracts and the processing and order title and make sure everything's lined up for closing and go buy the client gifts and all that bullshit, right? So that one assistant allowed me to focus on prospecting, allowed me to go do the work I needed to do to talk to more people. Now, that's still, again, like I said, a limited job. After about 2 years, 3 years of that, I actually gave my whole business portfolio to her because she was a licensed agent. And I said, dude, I'm going into flipping full time because I had to take the leap of faith. I had to trust that she knew that she was doing, and she did. And year 2, what happened was she had sold more than I did. She sold more than I did when I was involved in the business, and we flipped twice as many houses, right? So one person can leverage, some of the low-hanging work that needs to be done can easily catapult you to a different level. Now, you start to develop processes where sales guys can be involved, right? And you know that if I put the right person in the right seat, they're going to have an unlimited capacity to sell, and I'm going to have an unlimited capacity to help service those orders, right? Because the more we sell, the more we order. If you have a business like that, see, one of the structures that we're changing to right now, Matt, is, God, I mean, going back 4 or 5 years ago, there were weeks where I had $100,000 payrolls, right? Where on Friday we had to cut a 6-figure check, and that's to subcontractors and employees and all that. But I had a massive employee payroll, right? Now we're looking at businesses that we can make sure everybody who's on the bus is incentivized to hit the end goal, right? So a lot of commission-based, a lot of base pay plus commission, bonuses at certain levels and all that kind of stuff. And now we're all rowing in the same direction, right? I didn't just hire a processor who's $15 an hour and she's going to sit there and process files. No, I'd rather give her $12 an hour plus a $100 bonus every time a file process, for example, right? Now they're in line with their goals. They can make enough money to pay their bills, but they're bonused on their success, on their rate of ability to deliver, right? So how do we build a team around us that can be motivated in the same direction as our vision? That's one of the questions that I think a lot of people should be asking when they ask who does the how.
Okay,
Jenna just hired.
Jenna just hired her first cold caller. Congratulations. Dustin, dude, come on with us. Let's get you on live. I can send you a link, Dustin. Let me send you
Dustin,
a link.
if you want to hop on, let's chat, man. Trying to hire a first employee. Can you talk about who, what role, a pay structure? So that's, it's different for everybody, Dustin. It depends on what role you're trying to fill and, what they're supposed to do and all that kind of stuff. But you want to hop on, we can get deep on that. And, maybe we can get some solutions for you and figure out who to hire.
Let me find him here.
While you're doing that, I'm going to talk about ideas for a second, Matt, because we talked about ideas. I think ideas are one of the single most important and potentially most detrimental things to a visionary, to a business owner. So I want to kind of touch on that, how we kind of handle that right now. First of all, if you're a visionary, you're like me, you have your best ideas in the shower and when you're sleeping at night and you wake up in the middle of the night and when you're driving, right? And there's a reason behind that. It's because that's when all the noise starts to settle down and you can actually be with your thoughts, right? So it's amazing the stuff that pops up when we're in the shower. But I caution you guys, especially when you're just starting out, that ideas can be obstacles, right? So when you start to build a team, the worst thing you can do to a new team is come in every 5 minutes with a new idea. Hey man, I love this thing. Why don't we try that? Let's try this. Let's try this. And what happens is, I did this for years. Ask me how I know. Your team is so busy trying to catch up with your last idea that they never even made the last idea profitable or generate revenue, and you're on to your 5th idea. Mm-hmm. So one of the things that I like to do is actually take a notepad for ideas or just write down my ideas. I write everything, by the way. I have a pen all the time. But then I'll take the ideas that are good on that notepad and I'll stick them in my notes on my phone for long-term opportunity. And what we do as a team is we'll do a mini SWOT analysis on each idea. How much time is it going to take to implement? How much team power is it going to take to implement? What's the potential upside to that idea? What's the potential long-term ramifications or benefits to that idea? So when you force yourself to work 4 or 5 steps deeper than the idea, as a visionary, a lot of times you start to poke holes in your own shit, right? You're like, oh man, it's a great idea. And then by lunchtime, you're like, that idea is not going to work. So I caution you guys, when you have ideas, have them implement them, get your team around them, but only the right ideas, because there's going to be times when you come up with dumb shit and you put your whole company into a tailspin, because maybe you're out there flipping houses and you're like, man, I'd love to start a bakery. And it seems like that's fucking great, but none of us know how to bake. You know what I mean? Like, it could be a great idea. Maybe you should get a different team involved, or you should think about putting that on the back burner until it's financially, right for you.
They call that the CEO hurricane, right? We come in like a hurricane. We're borderline bipolar because of the way that we're wired, right? So coming in and starting a big old shitstorm we're really good at that. That's probably why we can't be in the day to day, because we're so all over the place. It's not that we're indecisive, because we're very decisive people, almost kind of by fault, because we don't plan and think and strategize and really put a plan in. We're just like, let's go, and we'll figure out as we go, and we'll clean up the mess along the way. And so that's why it's really important to have someone that can harness you in a little bit and bounce ideas off of. And then once you come to a conclusion that it is a good idea, then they can go to work on the implementation. I'm terrible at an implementer. I mean, I'll start off, try to put the pieces together, but then it'll fall off. It just part of my personality, right? I can't sit there and do the tasks that are required to make it successful. And that's not good or bad. It's just who we are.
Dude, and it's so important to know that. Like, Dustin's a good example. I would say the first thing I would do, anybody watching this, it's $50. Go take a Kolbe test, Kolbe, right? Kolbe.com, I think it is. But, essentially it's a 20-question test, and it tells you the type of person you are, right? So, for example, most owners, most visionaries, we're what we call high quick starts. That means we don't need a ton of information. We need the high level facts to make a quick decision. And we're going to internalize risk, reward, all that stuff super quick. Boom. I need these 3 key pieces of information. Okay, delegate it. I know where to go next, right? Where some people are fact finders. They need to have all the details. And so, like, my wife, and by the way, opposites attract, they say this, right? My wife is a super high fact finder, super low quick start. What that means is, if we go on vacation, she needs to know what time we're leaving, what time in the morning, what are the kids packing, do they need snacks, what plane are we taking, when's it going to land, what's our transportation to the hotel, what's the hotel going to look like, is there a beach, is there a pool, how warm is it, how hot is it, what are they going to feed us for dinner, what are we eating next fucking Thursday night for dinner? Okay, me, you put me in, I'll throw a backpack on my back, hop on a jet, and fucking land me somewhere. I'll figure it out. Wherever I go, they're going to have stores. I'll be able to find food. I'll be able to find clothing. I'll be able to buy whatever I need. I just want to move. I want to go, right? And so it's important to know the difference when you're talking about hiring people, especially if it's an assistant or something like that, right? An assistant needs to be a high fact finder. They need to be detail oriented and high follow through. By the way, that's one of the
great point.
Pieces.
You don't want to hire someone that's a mess like we are, right? Like
you can't. It just won't work. It won't work psychologically. It won't work physically. If you're both idea driven and no one's ever following through or implementing the processes, it's a complete shit show. And again, I built teams this way where we have a lot of great people, but they're all running. And I'm like, we need a follow through. We need someone who's actually going to do this shit, because all of us are on the phone talking ideas. None of it's going to make sense unless someone actually takes it to the finish line. Somebody told me this a couple of years ago, Tony Robbins, who I'm a huge fan of. I think you are as well. I've been to his events. He has 30 people on staff that do nothing but implement.
Wow.
Right? He has an idea, go friggin' do this. Go build a team and take it to fruition, right? Like, because a high-level integrator, implementer person is going to do the work and follow through. Hard to find, man.
100%. No, those, and when you find those people, they're huge, right? They make the engine, run, essentially.
Yeah. I mean, you have it in the wholesale business. I know you have a great integrator. We have our media business. We just hired an amazing integrator like 2 months ago. She's incredible. Our wholesale business, I got an integrator. I don't have a business where there's not an integrator in that business that's on it 40 plus hours a week. And I'm checking in once a day. How's it working? What's it look like? What's the next step? How can I help? Right. And we just become this person who's like 30,000 foot view looking and trying to find problems to solve them. And that's ultimately where, I know I want to be. And I think a lot of visionaries want to be ultimately.
100%, dude. It's right on what you're saying. And it may not make sense to some of you guys watching right now, right? But that's what we want to break it down. Here's the question. I think Dustin's going to be coming on live here in a few minutes. Ricardo asks, I've been rehabbing and flipping since '02, but since I've been doing 95% rehab myself, I haven't scaled. I'm looking to make that move so I could leave my full-time job I've been at for 32 years.
Yeah. Yeah, Ricardo, it's people, man. You know, it's maybe you find a great GC that's out there that's giving you good pricing. Maybe it's somebody who is like a subcontractor type person that wants to level up to that next space. If I'm out there rehabbing and I'm trying to leverage that piece, I mean, you got a lot of pieces go into it, right? Private money, you know, the market right now, the conditions, how much you're buying things for, all that stuff aside, I would be trying to find good GCs or good subcontractors that want to be GCs. And I would give them a small piece of the deal, give them a piece of the action, let them bring the material and the time, and then you guys split the profit or something like that. But if you have someone who's out there full time while you're working, maybe you're doing one job at a time. If all you do is go to 2 jobs at a time, you could be doubling your income this year. I mean, so 2 things I would say is, one is that first piece, find someone to help you leverage, find great talent. It's out there. I guarantee it. They're on the bench right now. They're waiting. They're waiting to be tugged in and let's get in the game, right? And number 2, I would mentally figure out exactly the dollar figure it takes for you to quit, right? I had a great guy. I'm not going to mention his name because I don't want to embarrass him. But we had an awesome guy. You might have been at that event. This is like going back one of our first events. And he was an engineer. Literally, he was a freaking rocket engineer. What do you call that? Like he was a rocket scientist, right? And he was sitting there and he was like, I got to make sure I hit 10,000 a month before I can quit my job. When I hit 10,000 a month, I'm going to quit my job. And I said, here's the problem with that. You hit 10,000 month 1, you going to quit your job? Hell no, you're not. You're a hyper analytical, right? You're going to think, well, let me roll the dice and see if I hit 10K on month 2, right? And then month 2 comes along and you hit $8,000. You quitting your job? Hell no, you didn't prove the concept yet, right? All right, so month 3, I'm going to keep pushing, right? The fact is there is no perfect time to quit. There's no perfect time. No one's ever going to come out of the sky and tap you on the shoulder and say, it's a good time to quit your full-time job, take all the risk and go out and be an entrepreneur. Right? I haven't had a paycheck in 20 years that I didn't earn through some sort of commission or profit share or draw from my company. Like, there is no paycheck. If my company doesn't make money, I don't make money, right? Mm-hmm. You have to get that thing deep in your head to realize I'm taking all the risk, but I'm getting all the reward. And it's never going to be comfortable. It's certainly not going to be comfortable when it comes time to quitting your job. It's not going to be comfortable 6 years from now when you're still making $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 a month, because you're still going to be on the hook every day to perform, right? So when you get comfortable with that idea, that's when you take the leap.
Yeah, and the other question I would ask Ricardo is, to me, I'm looking at this as more of, okay, are you kind of a control freak, right? Because you're saying you're doing 95% of the rehab. There's only 2 reasons someone would probably do that. 1, they don't think anyone else could do it better, or 2, you're thinking you're trying to save money, but it's costing you more. It's costing you time. So those are the 2 questions I would ask yourself. You know, do you not trust others to do the job? And 2, do you think that you're actually saving money?
And I'll add to that too, Matt. We're all control freaks.
Yeah.
We all want to do everything, right? Like the best way to overcome that is to set expectations in your own mind up front. Understand that the best person you ever hire is going to do it at 75, 80% of what you think they're capable of, right? The truth is, if we reflect back on what we've accomplished in the last week or so, right, and really pay attention to the details of what's been done, we didn't accomplish 100% of what we think we're capable of. Nobody does. So when we set expectations in our mind about people working for us, it's easier to, be comfortable when they perform at 80%. But the truth is, if you had 5 guys performing at 80% of their capacity, you could step back and do almost nothing but oversee, right? So,
what's up, Dustin?
Dustin, what's up, man?
What's going on, y'all?
Welcome to the call.
Yeah, I'm getting a haircut today. They just opened back up, so that's why I'm wearing a hat.
Bro, I haven't taken a hat off in 3 weeks. I'm getting a haircut tomorrow. So what's good, man? What can we help you with?
So, sort of what our question was, or what my question was, we're looking to hire right now. We do deals. We do 3 to 4 a month. We've been a little bit slower the last couple of months because we actually just moved into an office here and got it kind of set up. We're actually buying the building that this office is in, but we're trying to move on to that. I want to get to 8 to 10 deals a month, and I know they're in our market. We have plenty of pipe. There's plenty of houses. We just get, like you said, me and my fiance do this business, and we're both sort of visionaries. So we will implement when we have to, but we're not great at it. So we're trying to hire somebody that all they do is get me in front of people. That's all. And I feel like that's the hire that we need to do. So we're just trying to get somebody in here, just throw some more money at marketing, drive more leads in, and just get me in front of people. That way we can, start just banging out some more deals, honestly.
So how much are you throwing at marketing right now, if you don't mind sharing, monthly?
Right now, we're only doing, it's about $7,000 a month. And it's straight direct mail, nothing else. We use REI Vault. They've worked really well for us. But that's literally all we do. So we are going to throw a little bit more at that. And we're thinking about hiring a person to only do launch control, because we can't keep up with it if we're just doing it all like 5 hours a day, every day. So hire somebody.
Tell me what's launch control?
It's just a text platform.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just a text platform, and they'll just basically just come in and just run that all day to try to drive leads. We're just trying to add some different channels of marketing in besides just direct mail.
Yeah, and we can definitely help you with that. So there's three things I look at when someone that's your situation and wants to scale. Number one is lead gen, right? Number two is lead flow, and then I look at people, right? So number one is I want to see, do you have enough leads coming in that fully sustain your team to the point where they're tapping out? They're like, I can't call everybody back, right? Like there's just too many leads for me to handle, right? That's number one. I don't know that because I don't want to get too deep into your metrics and all that kind of thing. But generally, you want to have less than 3 marketing channels, because more than that gets complicated. You start to have to hire a marketing manager and all that. But you can really push, the accelerator on 3 marketing channels. For most of my guys, I run a thing called the Wholesale Syndicate. It's all around the country. So I have 8 operators in different markets all around the country. And most of my guys are doing a combination of cold call, SMS, RVM, and direct mail, right? So I would pick, 3 of those. You're already doing the direct mail piece. How can you layer in, RVM, SMS, right? Or, maybe it's PPC, but whatever works for you in your area, I would make sure you have 2 or 3 things max, and then you're maximizing what you can do in that channel, right? So that's lead gen. Lead flow is number 2. Now I got leads coming in. How's my team maximizing them, right? How many calls does it take my guy to close a contract? How many contracts does he bring in, end up going to closing? Now you got 3 or 4 deals a month, so you have pretty good metrics. What do you have your do you know those KPIs really, really well, to the point where that if I spend $1,000 on lead gen, I'm going to bring in 50 leads, and those 50 leads are going to convert to a contract, right? You have to know those numbers in order to know how the quality of your team, right? Does that make sense?
Yep. Yes, sir. Absolutely, absolutely. And we've sort of ran through this on our whiteboard. It costs us about $1,500 or so per deal. So we're shooting for a goal by the end of the year, and we honestly, it should cost us about $40,000 to hit that goal. So we're just trying to make sure we want to hire, because I know myself, and I don't want to let those leads, the follow-up, not happen, or I get busy doing something else and I don't follow through where I should. And that's just kind of where we're at. I try to be pretty honest with myself, and when I'm not good at something or know that I'm not going to do something, I want to get it on somebody else's plate that I can say, hey, look, this has to be done. And if they're on payroll, which this is the first time for us, but I feel like there can be like when we do our scorecards and stuff like that, we can say, this is what we need done today. What did you get done? Stuff like that. So
are you giving the guys goals up front, like certain contracts per week or certain calls per day or something like that?
Not now. No, we just kind of fly by the seat of our pants, honestly.
So one of the things I'll give you as homework that I think is I know that this is game changer, right? Every single one of your guys, this is part of being a visionary, being a leader. It's the hard shit that we have to do as leaders, right? I'm not saying that you're not working your ass off, but this is the stuff that's difficult, but it's necessary. I would give every guy a micro business plan, right? It takes 10 minutes. How much do you want to make? What's your average commission? How many contracts a week do you need to make that commission? and what's your contract conversion ratio. So you know that your deals cost you $1,500. How many contracts do you have to bring in to get to a deal?
That I'm not 100% sure.
So it's probably 4 to 5. It sounds like with your ratio, because contracts should cost anywhere from $300 to $500 per contract. Okay, so if you know that metric and you know that your turnaround, and by the way, you're doing great. Like you have some of that high level stuff. I get a little bit more niche on it, because you need your sales guy to know exactly how many contracts they need to hit each week in order to hit their sales goals. And then you need to make sure that your sales goals are in line with their sales goals, right? So if all of my guys are operating at 100% capacity, which never happens, by the way, it's like an 80-20 rule. You're going to have 20% of your guys are closing massive shit, and 80% of them are just trying to figure it out. So, I would have an open door. I mean, every one of my companies, we're hiring every day. Every day you come and step foot in one of my companies, there's a role for you, right? Like we're trying to expand. And for example, one of my wholesale teams, we brought in 30 acquisition specialists this year, and we have like 9. Right? It's a big churn and burn. It's give them the opportunity, see if they can close, teach them what you can. And if it doesn't work out, so, people say hire slow, fire fast. We hire fast, fire fast. Gotcha. If you're going to be an A player, you're going to stay with us forever. I got people that have been working for me for 10 years because they're awesome. Right. Gotcha. But I'm not afraid to go through people to find out who works and who doesn't. And we make that up. We tell them up front, like, look, you're joining the Super Bowl team. You want to fucking take this thing all the way. You got to show me that you're worth it.
Right on. Okay. Gotcha.
So, but that comes from leadership. They have to have a business plan, right? So just know your guy wants to make $100,000. He makes $2,000 on a deal. I don't know how you're compensating your people. We can get into a rabbit hole that way, but they're making $2,000. Yeah, well, that's scary. We got to figure that piece out, man. But let's say they make $2,000 a deal. Well, they have to close 50 deals, right? So that's 1 a week. They need 2 contracts to close 1. Well, then, dude, you got to close 2 contracts every week if you want to make $100,000. And by the way, when you're a 6-figure performer, I'm going to treat you like a 6-figure performer. Like guys, I think as operators, we forget that it's rare for people to make $100,000 a year, even in 2020. I mean, Christ, when I got out of high school, my goal was to make $100,000 a year, and I did it pretty quick. But today, I don't even want to tell you how long ago that was, but it's still rare to make $100,000 a year. So if you give somebody an opportunity to make $100,000 a year, they got to put in the work.
Right. And that's sort of the thing too. We're a little bit, and I'm glad you said you hire fast and fire fast, because that's sort of one of our things. We're taking somebody else's livelihood into our hands, and also paying, that pay structure. Like, do we pay them a set salary plus, a bonus? I mean, being a leads manager, because I think that would probably be our first hire. I would think. Somebody to just kind of be a first point of contact. If it sounds hot, then they can forward it on to us, and we can because I'm sort of the acquisitions guy right now. My fiance is sort of the dispo. She does the dispo side of it. But I'm assuming leads manager would probably be our first hire, I would think, / assistant, I guess.
I think you can get a VA for $1,200 a month who's very, very knowledgeable and very, very capable of being a leads manager. And that person just be a fixed person, fixed, staff member. I want to see all of your guys selling. They should be on 100% commission. The truth is, I've been in sales my whole life, dude, and we all have. We're all selling. You're all visionaries. We all own businesses. You're selling every day. I don't get paid unless I sell, right? And really good sales guys don't want to get paid unless they sell.
Gotcha. Yeah, I've always heard that. I used to sell vacuum cleaners, and that's what they said. They'd be like, if you're on a salary, you're doing it wrong, because then somebody else dictates how much money you make.
Dude, the truth is, if any one of us had whatever amount of money it is, $5,000 a month, $10,000 a month, $50,000 a month, if any one of us had that coming in automatically, we would be less motivated to get out of bed. It's just how it is. If I'm hungry, I'm gonna fucking, not only am I gonna fight you and you and you, I'm gonna beat all of you to the fucking finish line, and I'm gonna eat.
Right on. Yep.
That's the mentality we need.
Sounds good. Yep.
And also I would throw in here, whatever route you take. Because this may sound like it's appropriate for right now, like you want to be the acquisition guy. Well, you may look back in 2 years and say, well, crap, like I spent all this time to put the back end piece in. I'm getting the leads. I don't want to do this anymore. Right. Your goals change, your thought process change. You have other ideas, other things. And the problem with that is the minute you shut off and decide like that's not what you want to do, like all your acquisition goes into the shitter.
Totally. Yeah, you got to get out of that piece. Take your best. You said you had 4 sales guys, right?
No. It's just me and my fiance right now. That's it.
Oh man,
we're hiring. This is our first hire. So our first hire. That's what we're trying to figure out right now. Our very first hire to try to get us to that 8 to 10 deals a month.
You get a sales guy, man. I mean, there's so much great talent out there right now in sales, because how many people got laid off? The car business is all closed. Retail is all closed. There's some people out there that can close deals like that. The benefit of being young and new and small, and I don't mean any of that in a negative way, is that you are in the business all day. So when you hire sales guys, they can be sitting right next to you, and guess what? They're learning your culture. They're learning how you like to do it. They're learning exactly from you, and they're paying the most attention because you're the CEO, man. When you start having 20, 30 people work for you, they're fighting for 10 minutes of your time. When you're small, they could be sitting at a desk next to you, and that's going to be ultimately going to become your integrator or your implementer. That person knows how to run your whole business inside and out, and you're going to groom them from within, right?
Okay. Gotcha.
I literally still have some of my first employees. One of my guys been working with me for 10 years, and if they're good and they learn, like, they're never going to go away. And as long as you protect them and serve them and make sure they're making money, they're never going to leave you.
Okay. Awesome. Thanks, y'all.
Yeah, man.
Justin, one more thing and we'll let you go. I'd like to see you spend the next 6 to 12 months figuring out how to get yourself out of that acquisition seat. So, I mean, you're motivated and you're into it right now, which is awesome, but be smart about it. What I mean by that is hire 2 or 3 guys, commission only. Okay. Like Joe said, there's a lot of opportunity, and then spend all your time with those guys. They're shadowing you. You're explaining to them your thought process, how you look at a deal, why you said this to a seller, how you caught the motivation into something that may not be, particularly evident to them because you've heard these conversations over and over. And then you're documenting this process, because that's how you're going to get to 8 to 10 deals. You're not going to get to 8 to 10 deals by you just being the acquisition. It's impossible.
Okay.
And the biggest, the greatest feeling I've ever had is the first couple, 2, 3 times where I didn't go to the house, I didn't talk to the seller, I didn't write the contract, but we got a deal and we wholesaled it, and I got the wire, and I had nothing to do with it. That's
cool.
Hell yeah.
It's cool. It's cool you say that. I had a buddy, he's very high level where we're at, a friend of mine. You know him, Chris Collins?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he does a lot of flips. He does a lot of flips. And anyways, he just bought a wholesale deal from us 2 weeks ago. But anyways, he was like, man, I had the best feeling. We bought a house, flipped a house, and I never went in the house. So
there's no better
because he's got that team, and that's what we're trying to build. So what you said is spot on. We'll get there. It was just, one step at a time, I guess.
A lot quicker than you think. I'm telling you, you just put that, you make that mindset shift instead of, how can I go out and get all these contracts? Again, it's who is going to go get these contracts, and I'm going to show them how. Spend all your time showing them, train them up, and then go deploy them and sit back and make moves at a high level instead of being in the weeds at the kitchen table, knocking on doors, talking to sellers. I mean, there's not enough time in the day. You're just never going to get there. You're going to burn yourself out, and you're going to be frustrated.
Yeah, it happens.
There's no better feeling in the world, bro, than when a $38,000 wire hits your account and you never talk to the seller, you never talk to the buyer, you don't even know where the freaking property is. That's like, to me, that's pure joy, because I know my entire team's getting paid and we're getting paid, and I had nothing to do with it. And it's not, you're not that. I think what Matt's trying to say, and I think it's super important for all the people who are watching just trying to build a wholesale business, you're 1 or 2 hires away. That could be next month for you if you got the right people in the right seats. So 100%. Appreciate you, man. I actually have to hop off on a 12 o'clock call, Matt, but anything else we want to wrap up?
I'm good. I'll leave y'all alone. Yeah. Thank y'all very much. Thanks, Matt. Thanks, y'all.
Yep.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming.
See y'all.
Yeah, we could definitely get in the weeds on this stuff. It's exciting for us, right? Because
that was fun, dude. I could do this every day. I mean, I love talking business. I love talking wholesale. This is good shit.
How can people reach out to you? Where can they follow you, Joe? I know you got a role.
Yeah, they can just go to joeevangelisti.com. I'm sure you'll type it in there because it messed my name up, but joeevangelisti with an I.com. We have our blog there. I have our podcast stuff there. I have all kinds of, downloads, free downloads, paid downloads, coaching, the whole thing. So anybody who wants to check out that site and reach out to me directly, I'm super easy to get a hold of. Just ping me on Messenger, or Facebook, or Instagram Messenger, and I love to chat business at any time. So if you guys are trying to build a wholesale company, my unique ability is taking guys like Dustin that are doing 3 and 4 deals a month and getting them over 10. That's the goal. I have guys in the syndicate now that are closing 100 grand this month. Started out at 20. To me, like, I get more enjoyment out of watching other people succeed at this level than I do when my own team closes deals. And my own team's in the syndicate, by the way, which is cool. So it's an amazing mastermind with amazing operators in there, and I know it can help people take their wholesale business to another level.
Love it. All right, brother.
All right, brother. Well, I appreciate you having me on.
All right, guys. Thank you for being here. And until we see you guys tomorrow, hop on tomorrow. I got another guy locally that's coming on. It's got a cool story. So I look forward to having you guys on again. Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. And as always, be phenomenal. God bless.